Remove that. Well, that's probably the biggest clusterfuck of all beginnings ever in history. Sorry, guys. Just sort my shit out. Oh, that was a fucking disastrous start. Bear with me. There we go. I'll just sit around and chat shit for a second while hopefully people come in. How do I delete? Yeah, remove that one. Whew. Where's DJ tonight? DJ's usually at this point. DJ must be busy tonight. I was watching Lost Rivers Drive-In's live stream of Black Christmas. I think it was. Was it Black Christmas? But yeah, I was watching that. A few people are probably over on his stream because I was. So makes sense. If I'm on his stream, then anyone who's watching me is probably on his stream as well. Yeah, he's a good guy, Nick. Good guy. But I said do a midnight stream. I'm not gonna fucking change the times just because I'm gonna clash with someone. And I'm in work. Well, not in work. I'm up early tomorrow, so can't be up too late. Even though it is already like 12:20 in the UK, so it is pretty late. But whatever. Do I sit around and wait for people to jump on, or do I start going with the stream? I don't know, because anyone watching the pre-recorded is going to be like, "Why are you fucking talking shite?" Did have a couple of things I wanted to talk about, really. Wanted to talk about Chucky, although I haven't seen the final episode. I think episode 8 is out today. I've not seen it yet. I've seen the first 7. I like Chucky. It's solid. It's not amazing, but it keeps you entertained for like 50 minutes of the week. It's more. What more do you want? It's like I can't ask for any more than that of like a TV show based on a 33-year-old franchise, which got increasingly ridiculous as the years went by. So I can't really complain. It did its job. Horrible characters became less horrible as the episodes went on. So yeah, that's that's a winner. Because they were just Lexi in particular was just such a despicable, horrible human being in the first few episodes, and she just she did a complete 180 and became a lot more likable. Jake wasn't okay, he was the protagonist, sorry, and he was, even in the first few episodes, not particularly likable, like slightly annoying, your typical teen pain in the arse character, along a lot, and pain in the arse teens mixed with bitchy, nasty sort of people in their 40s. It didn't really leave a lot to love, but as the episodes have gone on, you've kind of got invested in the characters, and it's definitely improved. I think it's obviously it's about Chucky. Chucky is front and center. We're there for Chucky, but there's episodes where Chucky's barely in the episode, and you're not like sort of thinking, "Oh, where's Chucky? What's he doing?" You're kind of invested in the characters to a point. So yeah, it's a win-win. I think they've done a good job, and I think season 2 is definitely they've done enough to deserve that second season. Going on to I Know What You Did Last Summer, because I've not really talked about that, but that show is just, it started off, I wouldn't say it started off in a positive light. It kind of started off, to me, like a 5-6 out of 10 show, and it's just gone down to like a 3 out of 10, to the point when it finished. I just thought it was a horrible show. The characters are just disgusting human beings. I can't bear the characters from the supposedly likable characters down to like the rest. They're just horrible human beings, and it just sums up that vain, vapid, you know, me culture of the sort of like, 2010s, 2020, it's just, I mean, they probably, I mean, no, but not everybody's like that. Very few people are like that, but they took it to the extreme with these characters. It's all about, social media. It's all about like my smartphone, all about selfies. It's all about getting likes and being popular. And it's just like, I don't want to see that, I'm, I'm past that now. I'm too old for all that crap. And, you know, just when I watch a TV show, I want characters who are like to some point likable. And I didn't get that with I Know What It Did Last Summer. Just horrible characters. Yeah, wasn't for me. Um, Apart from that, let's move on. Wanted to just go over like I've been looking at like a lot of like list. I mean, every week I was like kind of like do like a list, horror films, like be it best slash film, best 80s films. And I thought, what, I might just have a little look at like, take a random website and see what they regard as like the best British horror films of all time. Because, I'd like to think that I'm maybe some sort of authority on British horror films, but I'm really not. Because there's just so much, I don't really know a lot about the more obscure, like hardcore British horror films. I'm just totally unaware of. So I thought, take a random website and just see what their opinions are, and just see where how many of them I've seen. I thought that'd be like just because whatever you think you stand with, like films, and you go on a random list, and there's always stuff there that surprises you. And I had a quick look at this list before, like I decided to like bookmark it. But there's got a good few films here that I've never ever heard of, which and I'm always thinking, well, that's definitely worth checking out. So I thought I'd just have a little look, share it, and maybe this is where I struggle now. Share screen. I always have an issue with this. Chrome tab. That's the one. Share. So share. Yeah. So 35 British horror films. This is a website called Mubi, which I've never heard of. But it just looked like a slightly different like choice of there's got some of obviously your mainstream British horror films, but it does vary a little bit because there's some of these films I've never heard of. So obviously, The Wicker Man, number one. I don't think this is in any sort of order, but obviously The Wicker Man is obviously the Wicker. Everybody knows The Wicker Man, one of the greatest horror films of all time. Forget the fucking atrocious remake with Nicolas Cage, which is it's so bad it's good. I mean, I will actually say that it's not horrendous because Nicolas Cage plays it as a straight man, not realizing he's in a terrible film, so it kind of makes up for it. So yeah, I've got like I've got a soft spot for The Wicker Man from 2005, 2006. And number two is The Innocents, which I've not seen. I'm gonna be honest. I'm quite a noob when it comes to a lot of these like hardcore old school films. Repulsion, I have not seen. My bad, I know. Don't Look Now is an amazing film. I see a lot of these films are kind of. I always think them as American. Don't Look Now, even yeah. I'm now I see it on this website. Yeah, I can understand it being a British film, but for some reason I always thought it as an American film. I don't know why. Maybe because I thought it may be financed by an American company, which kind of does not technically make it an American film, regardless of where it's filmed, I suppose. You Don't Look Now. Yeah, one of I wouldn't say it's a jump scare, but one of the greatest sort of finals, end scenes or towards end scenes in movie history. Also, one of the most infamous sex scenes in history with Donald Sutherland and is it Julie Christie? I want to say Julie Christie. I think it's Julie Christie. One of the most realistic sex scenes, certainly in movie history. Number 5, Alien. See, I don't regard Alien as a British movie. Obviously, it's Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott's British. I can only assume it was filmed at Pinewood Studios in London, where a lot of these films were filmed in London. And I suppose if the film's got British backing as well, with in terms of financially, that makes it a British film. But for me, Alien is not a British film. Alien is like an American film, rightly or wrongly. What's up, Sean? Sean's in the chat. It was Julie Christie. Yeah, I thought it was Sean. I wasn't quite sure. The Devils, another film I've not seen, and The Devils is definitely like a cult British classic from the early 70s. I don't know whether this is a good film, a controversial film, or both, because I know there's a lot of controversy around this film, but I don't know whether it's actually a good film or whether it's just controversial or whether it's both, because like I said, I've never seen this film, but I know that this film is very controversial amongst, maybe at the time, not now, but at the time, it pissed off a lot of churchgoers, religious people. Mary Whitehouse. Number 7, Straw Dogs. Yes, Straw Dogs is a fantastic film, and Straw Dogs is very controversial for the obviously. Yeah, Sean says never been released uncut. The Devils. But Straw Dogs, yes, Straw Dogs have another remade in America in the late 2010s, I think, or early 2020s, or no, not 2020, 2010s. Sorry, I can't get used to this. So late 2000s or early 2010s, Straw Dogs was remade for the American audience. But yeah, the British original, yeah, very, very controversial. Basically, the controversial thing about Straw Dogs mainly is it implies a rape scene where she enjoys being raped, basically. So that's where the controversy sort of stems from. But it's a controversial film anyway, because obviously, the violence for 71 was, well, I wouldn't say unheard of, but it wasn't the norm. So the beginning of the 70s was where we really saw the beginning of a lot of very, very violent films. Last House on the Left, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The early 70s sort of made way for a time which we just unheard of in the 60s. Well, at least that, to my knowledge, anyway. I mean, I'll stand to be corrected, but it seems to me that the early 70s was kind of like a new wave of just very, very violent films, which in the late 60s they just didn't even consider making. I was lucky enough to see it on the big screen uncut. Are you talking about Straw Dogs, Sean, or The Devils? Because I mean, The Devils, I thought, was just a film that's completely sort of really just fallen by the wayside. Number 8, Raw Meat. I've never heard of this film. Never heard of this film. It's 1972, directed by Gary Sherman. Number 9 is a film I've seen, Witchfinder General, Michael Reeves. Yeah, Witchfinder General is a great film. Very, very, very. It's set during, I think it's set during it's like the 16th. I won't even hazard the guess. It's like the Middle Ages. His job is to go out and it's a bit like the Salem witch trials happened in America, probably a 100 or two, a couple of 100 years after this. But yeah, there's some really, really gruesome scenes in this film. You can see why this film was controversial at the time. Witchfinder General did up the ante in terms of gore, and okay, people might look at it now and scoff and say, this is quite mild, but back in the late 60s, this would have blown people's minds. This sort of level of violence. Oh, so it's The Devils. Okay, yeah. All right, okay. I'm surprised they actually showed that on the big screen. It is quite a cult film. So, number 10, Dead of Night. Never heard of this film. 1945. Again, some of these films are probably almost impossible to find as well. Some of these films are not going to be streaming anywhere, and like to get hold of them on DVD is probably just going to be extremely fortunate. So that's the thing about physical media. Always support physical media, because a lot of this stuff is just gone, probably gone forever. I mean, there will be access to. I'm sure there's some access to these films, but for the average man and woman on the street, I can't imagine like some like old 1945 film. It's just going to be easily accessible for anyone. It's probably going to cost serious money, I suppose. Number 11, 20, obviously 28 Days Later. Everybody knows 28 Days Later. I think a film I find slightly overrated. I mean, I like 28 Days Later, but I love the opening half an hour in London. But then when it moves, like sort of moves north, and you kind of move away from the city, my sort of interest kind of like wanes slightly. I actually prefer 28 Weeks Later, the sequel. I think that's a far better film. Stays in London, stays focused, more violence, more gore. Well, maybe not more gore. I mean, there's more. It's definitely more action orientated. But yeah, love 28 Weeks Later. 28 Days Later, no, it's a good film, but I do think it's slightly overrated. Number 12, yeah, American Werewolf in London. Greatest werewolf film of all time. Fuck Wolfen. Fuck The Howl. The Howling. Come on, this film is far and away the best werewolf film ever. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. This film is the best transformation scene you'll ever see. I mean, just no CGI, just pure, just down to just man-made, special effects. You just can't top this sort of stuff. CGI would just have killed this film if they remade it now. Number 13, Night of the Demon, 1957. Not heard of this film. Yeah, probably no way of watching it. 14. Another film I've not seen, which I probably should have seen, is The Devil Rides Out from 68. Now, I've heard of this film, but it doesn't ring a bell. Well, it does. I've not seen the film, but it definitely rings a bell. I've definitely heard of this film. Around the time of Rosie's Baby. But yeah, I need to check this one out. Number 15, Frenzy from 1972, a Hitchcock film. I've heard of this film. Again, I've not seen this film. I don't think I've seen it anyway. Sean, I prefer The Howling over Werewolf in London. Oh, Sean, come on, man. You got to represent Britain here, man. You got to represent Britain. I'm joking. What's up, Andy? Andy's in the chat. Hey, I missed the start. Where are you guys discussing? We're just discussing basically random websites, which is discussing. This is one for you. 35 British horror films. Website called Mubi. I'm just trying to like sort of get like a, take a random website, just kind of get a feel for what they regard as like classic British horror films. So yeah, just taking a look through them and like what I've seen, what I've not seen. It's quite looking at the choices. It's quite a highbrow website. This is not like your shitty web. It's picking some like sort of deep cuts, which it's just what I need, because this is the sort of stuff that a lot of these films I've not seen. and they're not like your mainstream sort of like horror films. So yeah, yeah, we're just going. We're making our way through that. We're up to 16, The Curse of Frankenstein. Now, I think I have probably seen this, but it's hard to know for certain because I've seen a lot of Frankenstein films over the years, and I can't remember which ones are which. With this being 57, I don't know. Maybe I probably have seen it at some point. But it's just so difficult to know. There's just so many. 17, Shaun of the Dead. Everybody knows Shaun of the Dead. For me, it's his weakest film. I know that's probably a controversial statement, but for me, Hot Fuzz and The World's End, I just much prefer those films. Last Night in Soho I've seen recently. Don't think Last Night in Soho is amazing, but still prefer it. I won't compare Last Night in Soho to Shaun of the Dead because Shaun of the Dead is like part of it. It's a totally different movie to what he's done after World End. So I'll keep that contained to the Cornetto trilogy. But as far as the Cornetto trilogy goes, for me it's Hot Fuzz, World End, Shaun of the Dead. I don't understand the love that this film gets compared to the other films. I just don't think it's on par with. I actually think Hot Fuzz maybe is considered the best of the trilogy. I don't think that's controversial, but I think what is controversial is saying that World's End is a better film than Shaun of the Dead, which I think it is. But I think a lot of people would disagree with that. But I actually just think that Shaun of the Dead has got a lot of flaws. Well, not a lot of flaws, not flaws, but I think it's just got issues. I can't stand. Oh my god, the guy from Love Actually, his name escapes me. The father-in-law. I hate that character. I hate him so much. I don't like it when they get to the Winchester. I think is it the Winchester? Am I thinking of Minder, the TV show Minder? No, it is the Winchester, isn't it? The Winchester pub. I think they called it the Winchester in reference to Minder. But yeah, no, not for me. Don't like it. 18, The Shout. Never heard of this film. 1978. No idea. I mean, just look back, by the photo. It looks. I'm interested. I don't know. It looks like it might be European rather than British. But 19, Dracula. 58. I must have seen this film, but like I say, it's a Dracula film. I mean, that is definitely. Is that Peter Cushing? No, sorry, that's Christopher Lee. Sorry, that is definitely Christopher Lee. So Peter Cushing obviously is in the film. So this is definitely one of the more. Is this the original Christopher Lee Dracula? Because I would have definitely seen this. But like I say, Jesus Christ, I don't know how many Dracula films I've seen, but I must have seen this one because it's obviously the Christopher Lee original by the looks of it. Blood and Satan's Claw from '71. Never heard of this film. Peeping Tom, Yeah, I've not seen this film, but this is obviously an iconic film. This is like Anthony says, "World's End for me. Going on the pub crawl with your mates, then fighting aliens, brilliant." Yes, I mean that's what I love about that film. I think that film it definitely sums up like a night out in Britain. You know what I mean? It's like it's a pub crawl, then a fight. I'm not saying that's like we all do that, but it's so relatable if you're British. That whole idea of a pub crawl. I think for Americans, maybe Shaun of the Dead is more relatable because, I mean, do Americans go on pub crawls really? I mean, maybe, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, back to the list. Yeah, Peeping Tom, number 21. Yeah, this is a film that is. People always say, is it Peeping Tom or Psycho is the first slasher film? It's probably neither, but I'm no expert. Lorne has got his opinions. I mean, he always goes way back, maybe the 30s, maybe. But in terms of like, a film that like was highly controversial at the time, it doesn't come much more controversial than Peeping Tom. I mean, a film that Michael Powell, the director, his career was basically ended after this, to my knowledge. Anyway, to the best of my knowledge, his career just basically fell off a cliff because it was such a controversial film. Whereas, look where, it went with Psycho. Psycho obviously went in a completely opposite direction. But yeah, I mean, Peeping Tom can't honestly comment on the film, in terms of like how good the film is. But I mean, in terms of impact, yeah, massive impact. And it's one of those it is one of those films. It's like, why have I not seen this film? But I suppose it's kind of like there's so many other films that I need to see, and this is always kind of there's always going to be a film in front of it, and because it's like 60 years old. As each year progresses, I find less and less reason to just like watch it, and I should just like, and plus, where do I watch it? Is it a case of spending silly money on a Blu-ray? Because that's possibly the only way I'm going to be able to see this film. Coming to the end of this now. 22 Plague of the Zombies. Never heard of this film, which has been a common trope throughout this throughout this list. 23 Asylum. Roy Ward Baker. Never heard of this film either. This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. I wanted a list which is going to challenge me, because I don't think, realistically, because this is obviously a list of UK films as well. Obviously, most of the people who subscribe, of the few people who do subscribe to my channel, obviously notwithstanding Anthony and Sean, who are obviously Brits, mostly American. So I would like to think that they probably have never heard of these films. So anybody like who watches this, who's in the States, maybe they'd be like, maybe check these films out, because I'm going to certainly check some of these films out, because these films I've not heard of. They're sitting amongst quite high, auspicious, is that the right word? Auspicious company. And my English is terrible, but I think it's auspicious. Maybe not. 24, The Bride of Dracula, Terence Fisher. No, not seen this film either. Or have I? Maybe I have. If it's a Christopher Lee film, I may have seen it, which it probably is, because the first Dracula film was 58, and this is Terence Fisher directing, and he directed this one. So maybe I've seen this film, but I wouldn't remember it. And we've got 25, another Terence Fisher film, The Gorgon, which I've never seen. 26 is The Hunger, which I think The Hunger's got David Bowie in. It's Tony Scott from 83. Is this the same Tony Scott who directed... is it Tony Scott who directed Predator? I might be... No, it can't be. Tony Scott didn't direct Predator, did he? Right. That's getting Googled. Because I know Tony Scott has directed some major... No, oh, he did... he's done a lot. He's done Enemy of the State, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Last Boy Scout, Spy Game, Crimson Tide, Unstoppable. Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Well, who directed Predator? And he directed Top Gun. So who? I was supposed to direct Predator. Oh, Tony Scott. Oh, yeah. So why did I think the Predator? John McTiernan directed Predator. Why am I thinking Tony Scott? It's because he did Top Gun, maybe. I don't know. So John McTiernan directed Predator. Um, anyway, that's The Hunger. Scream of Fear, never heard of. 1961. The Abominable Dr. I've heard of this film, I've not seen it. It's 1971, Robert Fewest, I can't even pronounce that word. 29, Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, I've not seen. That's from 71. This is like an education, this, because, yeah, you know what, as well, Anthony, he's, obviously, you're probably aware of this, but, like, Ridley and Tony Scott are from the Northeast. I think they're from North Shields. I think they're from North Shields. If I Tony Scott, yeah, Tynemouth. So that's sort of like Newcastle way, isn't it? So there's a claim to fame for the Geordies, Ridley and Tony Scott. I'm sure you're already aware that they're Geordies. So yeah, we've got Hellraiser. Obviously, Hellraiser is a British film. I don't see, but I've never seen Hellraiser as a British film. For me, it's always been, I don't know why I always see it as an American film. I know Clive Barker, obviously British, and it's a British budget, but for me, it's an American film. Um, yeah, but yeah, it's like The Descent. I've always seen The Descent as an American film, even though it's always regarded as a British film. Um, yeah, Northeast Boys. Um, Abominable Snow. This is a film that I was only made aware of like maybe about 6 months ago, and it's on YouTube, and it's a fucking great film. Really, you know, these some of these 50s movies. Okay, they're not like it's like Thing from Another World. The original that Carpenter remade. These films are like you can't put your finger on it. There's something about them that makes them creepy, and even though you never really feel okay, it's not like watching a more modern film where there's a feeling of dread sets in. But there's just something about these old black and white movies from the 50s that you can't really recreate it now, and they're not relying on gore, they're relying on tension, suspense, and Abominable Snowman, it hits a bit like The Thing from Another World, and I love this. This is a film that it's like comfort food as well. It's a film I can put on before I go to bed and like fall asleep to, which is a bit like The Thing from Another World was always like that. And obviously with a lot of these older movies as well, these films from the 50s, 60s, it's great to watch a film where there's no agenda. I always go on about this. I always end up going down this rabbit hole, but to watch a film with no agenda and just watch a film where it's not trying to put across any sort of like, you know, ideology or political sort of belief. It's telling a story without trying to make you think about something, without, oh, this is bad, this is good, it's just, this is the situation, this is the story, and we're going to tell the story. And that's what they do. And that's what they used to do up until about 2010, maybe 2015. And then ever since then, it's all been about, doing something. Yeah, we're gonna make a film, but we're gonna tell a story, and we're gonna educate you as well. And we're gonna, tell you how you should think and how you should feel. And yeah, films are definitely taking a downturn since that point, in my opinion. But oh, Jamie, what's up? What's up, Jamie? Unfortunately, Tony Scott is no longer with us. Shame, because I like his. Yeah, Tony Scott. Yeah, Ridley Scott is old as well. Ridley Scott is like 83. Is he eight? He's in his 80s, I think. Ridley Scott. I didn't know he was so old, but he's still going strong. He still wants to do these. Alien movies, and I mean, personally, I'd rather just let somebody else take over now because I'm sick. I'd rather just pass the torch over to someone else because I don't really want to see more Ridley Scott interpretations of aliens. I just think it's done now. He peaked with Alien. I like Prometheus, but Alien Covenant, no, I didn't like that. Um, The Company of Wolves, 84, Neil Jordan, a film I should have seen really, but I'm not. And I feel really bad because this is a film I really should have seen. Um, Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, 74. I'll make I'll take no shame in saying what is this film? Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter. Never heard of this film. I'll give props to this website because they are like recommending some films I've just utterly not like I've not seen, but I'm aware of. These are films. Some of these films I've never even heard of. 34, The Descent. I'll be The Descent. Like I say, like I mentioned earlier, for me, it feels like an American film. It seems like a lot of American actors in it, and I think the film is set in the Appalachian Mountains. Unless I'm mistaken, it's actually set in America, in like a pothole in. I'm sure it's set in the Appalachian Mountains, which obviously is in America. So I think it's set in America with a lot of men. I think is it Rodriguez? What's the girl from? Is it one of the? Is the girl from Fast and Furious in this film? Rodriguez. Is it her? But anyway, there's quite a number of American actors, and I think it's set in America, but obviously it's funded by it's British money and it's British director and whatnot. But yeah, I've always seen this film as an American film. Finally, 35, The Vampire Lovers from 1970. Never heard of this film again. There must be like 15, 16, 17 films on this list I've never heard of. Um, did he say Kronos? Did I say Kronos? Captain Kronos? Vampire Hunter? Oh, it was filmed in the UK, Anthony. Obviously, you're talking about The Descent. Yeah, yeah, but I think it was set, but it was actually it was meant to be. Was it set in? It was filmed in the UK, but it was actually set in the US. I'm sure. I'm sure it was meant to be set in the the Appalachian Mountains, which is like the sort of trail that stretches the length of America. I could be wrong. Jamie will probably tell me, but yeah, it's just that the whole idea of it's set in America with a lot of American actors. All right, so no, yeah, it's film called sorry, Sean, film called Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter. Jamie, I'm not a fan of Descent, bore me to death. Um, I actually think it's overrated. I mean, I wouldn't say I was bored by it, but I don't think it's quite the movie that people. It's constantly mentioned in lists of greatest horror movies of all time, and I would never put it there. To be honest with you, I think I think it's a solid film. I think it's a solid 7 out of 10 film, but I would never really put it, you know, up any more than that. But yeah, not the same Kronos. Back to the big screen. Not the same Kronos show. Yeah, so that was basically a list of British films that that surprised me, that list, because that list was kind of like stuff that I'm like, what the hell is this? I've never heard of this film. I was waiting for. I was hoping Lorna would jump on and just educate me because I'm just completely. Some of those films are just completely lost on me. Um, that was kind of one thing. I kind of came into tonight's stream just not totally based talking about movies. I kind of stuff that gets on my nerves a little bit on Twitter. I spend too much time on Twitter and stuff that irritates me. And so I think what I'm going to do, like maybe on a weekly basis, is just take a tweet or a reply to tweet and just give my impression of it, and just basically sort of like maybe call out, the person or the person. And the lucky person today, and I'm going to have to do this share nonsense again. Share screen. Chrome tab. I will share and we'll get there. Okay, so, right, just bear with me. I'm just going to let my dog is waiting to get in the living room, so just give me 2 seconds. And I'm back. Sorry about it, guys. My dog's just been a little pain. Yeah, so, yeah, like I said, I spend too much time on. Now, this is not movie related. Well, it is kind of movie related because it involves a movie star, and someone who just gets on my fucking tits, and a YouTuber who also I've got no time for, but I don't really know him very well. But I always found him a little bit annoying. But yeah, so Ben, what's up, man? Ben's in the chat as well. Nice to see you, man. What was the film, Jamie? That was anything Carl wants to zoom in on. So Casey Neistat, who's he's like a vlogger, I suppose. He's got ridiculous number of. He's got 11 million subscribers on Twitter. I think he was like a bigger deal about 4 or 5 years ago, but he's he lives in LA. He's kind of mixing with celebrities now, and so he basically tweeted last week. So he said, "So our cars got robbed this morning because Los Angeles is a crime-riddled, third-world shithole of a city. But tremendous appreciation and gratitude to the hard-working officers at the LAPD who not only arrested the motherfucker, but they got all of our stolen goods back." Fair enough, I mean, the guy. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Casey Neistat. I think he's a bit annoying from what I've seen of him. But fair play. He's had his car broken into. The police officers have got his stuff back and they've arrested the guy. End the conversation. You would think that would be the end of the conversation, but no. Seth Rogen, the world's oldest stoner, 45 years old and still smoking weed like it's fucking going out of business, pipes up, dude, how old? Okay, I'm British, but I don't care if you're American, Azerbaijani, Angolan, or fucking Argentinian, or whatever. Nobody over the age of fucking 25 should be saying dude in any sort of circumstances. So Seth Rogen pipes up, "Dude, I've lived here for over 20 years. You're nuts, haha. It's lovely here. Don't leave anything valuable in it. It's called living in a big city." Okay, so you're showing a complete lack of awareness for anybody else who doesn't live in a big city there, because people who don't live in a big city be like, well, that's not normal. And Casey replies, "I can still be mad though, right? Feel so violated." And I need to try and find the replies now. Once they load up. Because Seth Rogen basically just goes on a big rant. Yeah, so Seth basically says, "You can be mad, but I guess I don't personally view my car as an extension of myself, and I've never really felt violated any of the 15 or so times my car was broken into." 15. Once a guy accidentally left a cool knife in my car, so if it keeps happening, you might get a little treat. And Casey's basically said, I didn't get any treats. He just took the decorations for my daughter's 7th birthday party and left bloody handprints. Serious question, how did you get your car broken into 15 times? And Seth replied, I lived in West Hollywood for 20 years and parked on the street. So, yeah, I mean, there's you just like there's Hollywood in a nutshell. It's a complete and utter just disassociation with normal human beings. You know, these people don't live the way we live. You know, they think that, you know, a guy like him, he thinks it's normal to get your car broken into 15 times. I think, oh well, that's part and parcel of living in a big city. No, no, it's maybe for you. Maybe for you. I mean, me personally, I live in a medium-sized city, and my car's not been broken into once. I mean, I just the mind boggles. Seth Rogen is completely out of touch with reality. These people that live in LA, I mean, Casey. I mean, to be fair, Casey Neistat lives in LA as well, but he doesn't seem to become as detached from reality as what Seth Rogen has, where he still sees an issue with your car getting broken into. He still sees an issue with his kids' birthday party things getting stolen from the back seat. Seth Rogen thinks, oh, yeah, okay, man, yeah, someone left a knife in the back of my car. Like, it's just one big joke, and like, fuck off, man. You're the Seth. You know what? Seth Rogen used to be like half entertaining, half. He used to be like, you remember when like him, Paul Rudd were like kind of like fun guy. You know, you kind of like both of them. Yeah, Paul Rudd won because Paul Rudd's still a cool guy. Seth Rogen's just this. Yeah, and Seth Rogen spent a lot of time with James Franco as well. Yeah, just saying. James Franco, probably not the best guy to hang around with to look good on yourself. You know what I mean? It's a bit too late now to look like I'm the good guy, but you know, yeah, yeah, sure. This, yeah, I've got to vent my anger. Okay, you know what? Don't get me started on COVID. Jesus Christ. If you get me started on COVID, my channel's getting taken. I don't care how many subscribers I've got. My channel's getting fucking pulled, man. Jesus Christ. Omicron. What? Omicron, a 1963 film about an alien invasion on. Let me just, hang on. Okay, let me just. Right, I'm just going to share something. Share screen. I'm going to leave the share Chrome tab. Share. Hang on, sorry. Let me share that. Okay. Delete that. Army. Oh my god. Sorry. Let me do one again. Omicron 1963 movie. What does it say about this? I mean, I'm not that crazy, but it's just funny that the way the name for the new variants is just so like fitting. As the world reels under a new threat, COVID-19's new variant called Omicron. We wonder if we've heard that name before. In what context? Well, the name's been used as titles for films before. If you haven't heard of the films, then don't blame yourself, as they don't ever quite create a hype for themselves. And before you jump the gun, they're not anywhere close to being based on a virus outbreak. Well, I know that. I'm not saying they are, but it's just fun. It's just fun to look. It's just fun to look at the 1963 one, which is if they show that the 1963 movie Omicron, an alien takes over the body of an Earthman in order to learn about the planet, so his race can take it over. Let me just rephrase that. 2021 movie, an alien, Bill Gates, takes over the body of an Earthman. I joke. It's not Bill Gates. I take it back. Don't kill me, Bill. Don't kill me. I'm just joking. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. It just looks like every week it's just like a new variant, and just like with what could we call it? What can sound like really really dangerous and really intimidating? That's going to get people like wearing masks again. I'm just like, well, that sounds quite horrible. Omicron. So I mean, even the world leaders can't even get the word right. Omicron. Omicron. I think Joe Biden just fell asleep when he tried to pronounce it, but you know. Anyway, I've been ranting for how long have I been going for? Hour and two. You know what? I've done enough. An hour's enough for me tonight. You know, I'd go longer, but you know what? I'm up early in the morning. I'm usually got a lie in on a Wednesday. I would go for longer, but you know, I've covered a couple of bases. But you guys, legends, Sean, Ben, Anthony, Jamie, Anthony. I think I said Anthony, didn't I? Yeah, I think I've gone through everyone. Anyway, guys, legends. I'm going to go now. Nice round 60 minutes. No, two. Sean, I'll do 2 hours. I will do 2 hours next Tuesday because I've got more. I've got a couple of shows finished off by then. Chucky's finished by then. I haven't seen the final episode of Chucky. I've still got one episode that I know we did last summer to watch as well. Yeah, and a couple of films I've got to watch as well. So to rant about. So yeah. Anyway, guys, legends. Thank you so much. I will see you guys later. Bye.